Hey, what's up, viewers? Patrick from Bob vs. Only back in to video in this episode number 2 of Rain Week on Bob versus of the Day. And today's verse comes out of Acts 14, verse 17, and it reads, "Yet he has not left himself without testimony. He has shown kindness by giving you rain from heaven and crops in their seasons. He provides you with plenty of food and fills your hearts with joy." And that's what that verse means. And let's get into it. Starting with John 3, verses 14, 15, and 16, it says, "Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up, that everyone who believes may have eternal life in him. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." And verse 14 of John 4 or John 3, when Jesus mentions just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, this is a flashback to what happened in Numbers 21, Here's Numbers 21, verses 4 through 9. It says, "They traveled from Mount Hor along the route to the Red Sea to go around Edom. But the people grew impatient on the way. They spoke against God and against Moses and said, 'Why have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread, there is no water, and we detest this miserable food.' Then the Lord sent venomous snakes among them. They bit the people, and many Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, 'We sinned when we spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray that the Lord will take the snakes away from us.' So Moses prayed for the people." Verse 8 is where the flashback comes in that Jesus puts into John 3:14. "The Lord said to Moses, 'Make a snake and put it up on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live.' So Moses made a bronze snake and put it up on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, they lived." And that is where the flashback in John 3:4 or from John 3:14, where Jesus says to Nicodemus, "Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up." And that's all for the verse portion. So now we're going to get to the sermon that was preached yesterday. And we're going to go to Matthew chapter 9. In Matthew chapter 9, starting at verse 27. And it says, "As Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men followed him, calling out, 'Have mercy on us, Son of David.'" And in this particular section, this is where Jesus is healing. So he went on from where he was, and 2 blind men started following him. And they called out and said, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." And then when the people had gone indoors, the blind men then came to Jesus, and he asked him, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" And they said, "Yes, Lord." And then he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith, let it be done to you." And their sight was restored. Jesus warned them sternly, "See that no one knows about this." And then they went out and spread the news all over the region. And then while they were going out, they ran into this man that was demon possessed and could not talk. And when the demon was driven out, and the muted man started speaking, and the crowd just starts getting really amazed, and They say nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, it is by the prince of demons that he drives out demons. And then, now this section is the workers are few. So after all this, where, Jesus heals the blind person, and then heals the muted person, this is where the workers are few comes in. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. And that is all for the verse portion. And that's all. So that's all for the verse portion. There's not really any notes, but I do want to share one more thing before I leave you with today's verse. So at our church we have a magazine, not a magazine, but a newspaper, and it's called the Well Diggers, and we haven't released a Well Digger newspaper for a very long time, and yesterday's. So one of my friends, she basically makes the paper and stuff, and something she read yesterday. I'll read it to you. And here it is. So So she starts this part with 1 Timothy 4, verses 4 and 5, which says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. And then here's what it says. Our husbands, fathers, and grandfathers are a gift from heaven, and today we want to honor all the men in our lives and say thank you for all you do and for being a man of God. Yesterday was Father's Day, so that's where that came from. And now the verse to leave of today is 2 Corinthians 5:18, which says, all this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. And that's going to do for the video. Thanks for watching. And until next time, me again, viewers, in every way, God's way is always the best way.